I've been using both Galaxy S25 Ultra and iPhone 16 Pro Max as my main devices for the past half a year. The Galaxy is for personal use and the iPhone is for work. The Galaxy has two advantages that I absolutely love: the S Pen and the anti-reflective display, which makes the phone more usable outdoors. The iPhone, on the other hand, makes it easy to connect to my MacBook, and having the latest iPhone is a bit of a status symbol, if you are being honest. But they also have a lot of similarities, like the titanium frame, similar camera hardware, similar display size, and even the operating system looks closer than ever. This is Mo, welcome to TechMo. Today I'm gonna compare the Galaxy S25 Ultra versus the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and this video is being sponsored by Squarespace. With Squarespace, you can create a website in just a few minutes and upload your content there easily. Both phones have a 6.9-inch display with very similar bezel sizes. They are both massive. The Galaxy is 227 grams, while the iPhone is 10 grams lighter. That's 8 ounces versus 7.7 ounces. The Galaxy has a higher resolution display. Another advantage is that it also has an anti-reflective display. You can see here how that translates to better visibility if you put it under direct light. Just note that if you want to keep that anti-reflective property with a screen protector, you have to use an anti-reflective screen protector. You can see here on my own phone, I'm using the anti-reflective screen protector from Samsung, while on the test phone, I'm not using one. In terms of pulse width modulation, or PWM, they are both 480 Hz, which is not great, but not terrible. One main difference between the displays of the two is that the iPhone has a dynamic island for face unlock, while the Galaxy has an under-display fingerprint scanner, so there's only a punch hole. When it comes to battery, neither of them unfortunately use the new battery technology to bump the battery capacity like Chinese brands. My experience is that the iPhone usually gives me more battery by the end of the day, but the difference is not massive. I think during the past half a year that I've been using both phones, it's happened once or twice that I had to charge the battery in the middle of the day. In an intensive test I did recently, the iPhone 16 Pro Max got 7 hours and 18 minutes of screen on time, while the Galaxy S25 Ultra got 6 hours and 28 minutes, which is a bit lower than the iPhone. In terms of performance, they're on par. The Galaxy uses the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset designed for Samsung phones, while the iPhone uses the in-house A18 Pro chipset. Both phones can handle absolutely everything. On paper, in Geekbench, the Galaxy gets a better multi-core score, while the iPhone gets a better single-core score. When it comes to the camera, at least the main lens, the optical quality of the phones is similar, meaning you don't get more details on one phone compared to the other since they both are using similar hardware. But the processing is very different. For example, if you look at the sky here, the Galaxy phones are much more punchy with a vibrant sky, while the standard profile on the iPhone is muted. Generally, if you prefer punchier colors and more vibrancy, the Galaxy is what you want to pick, while if you prefer muted colors, the iPhone is the right choice. The same goes for video. Here, the Galaxy S25 Ultra video colors are vibrant, while if we switch to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, we get less vibrant colors, but the overall quality is similar. The same goes for the ultra-wide lens. This year, Galaxy introduced a new ultra-wide lens that has better quality and is in the same league as the iPhone. And once again, the main difference is in processing. This picture says it all. Punchier colors on the Galaxy with a warmer tone, while the iPhone tone is colder, and you have a purple aura in the sky. I personally prefer a bit more color in my photos and videos, but that's just me. You may have a different preference. The Galaxy has a 3x telephoto lens, but if you want to take a 3x picture with the iPhone, the photo will be cropped from the main lens. My experience is that the difference is not that huge, especially since the 3x telephoto lens on the Galaxy is the weakest camera on it. They both also have a 5x telephoto lens. The camera sensor on the Galaxy is a tad larger than the iPhone, meaning you get more light and better quality. But I also find the Galaxy does better in zoom pictures processing. The iPhone doesn't apply the right algorithms like denoising and smoothing, and a lot of times it really shows that it doesn't try hard enough to get a good zoom picture. That said, if you keep taking pictures in daylight and of objects that don't necessarily need to be captured in full detail, for example buildings or street photography, you won't notice much of a difference between the two phones, except in color science. On the Galaxy, you get more colorful pictures. The downside of the vivid colors is that sometimes you get orange skin tones. Also, the Galaxy has more magenta in the white balance, while the iPhone pictures lean more towards green. I also upload some of the pictures to my website, which I created using a Squarespace called Tecmo Wallpaper. I built it with a Squarespace in just a few minutes. The link is in the description, so you can download them for free. With a Squarespace, you can start with the Blueprint AI and build a website super quickly and efficiently in just a few simple steps. Their website building tool is incredibly intuitive, and you don't need any experience. Everything is just drag and drop. You can also make some of your content on your website member only and monetize it. Plus, you can sell your online courses, blog posts, and videos without any hassle. They have award-winning templates that are completely free. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you are ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Tecmo to save 10% off your first purchase. You are gonna love it. Another limitation of the iPhone is that it doesn't zoom as much as the Galaxy, and sometimes it is fun to zoom 100 times on something because why not? Overall, it is great that they both have a 5x telephoto lens that can capture amazing videos and pictures, and you'll be fine picking either of them. One downside of the Galaxy though is that I often notice it raises the shadows too much, which makes the video looks like there is some haze on it. Meanwhile, the iPhone creates more balanced footage and the contrast is more on point, as you can see in this footage taken with the 5x telephoto lens. You can also use the telephoto lens on both of them and combine it with portrait mode to get nice portrait shots. I'm repeating myself, but you get more vividness on the Galaxy, with orange tones on your skin, while the iPhone is more muted with greens in the white balance. The iPhone also introduced a great filter system with undertones this year, but Samsung jumped on the ship quickly and they also improved their filtering system. Of course, you can create your own filter on either phone, but they both come with super nice presets you can apply to photos to give them a different vibe. I just hope they add more film emulation filters soon. Now this is the selfie camera. On the left side we have the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and on the right side we have the Galaxy S25 Ultra. I feel on the Galaxy S25 Ultra the sky is a bit overexposed and highlights are being overblown. The iPhone is doing better here. Also, we are checking the microphone quality of both of them. We are in Venice, Italy. Nice. One thing that I absolutely detest on the iPhone is the green reflection dots that often appear when I'm taking videos, especially with 5x telephoto lens. It is very distracting, and they still haven't solved it after so many years. Another thing that makes me prefer the Galaxy over the iPhone for taking videos and photos is the great camera app. The iPhone camera app is rather basic and doesn't offer much, while on the Galaxy, you get all kinds of advanced options, and the only thing missing was log, which they added in this version too. When I want to take some videos while traveling with my camera gear, like anamorphic lenses, I simply use the Galaxy, and the result is usually very stunning. I put the link to the items I used in this video to capture this footage in the description. The iPhone is using iOS 18 with Apple Intelligence that is connected to ChatGPT, while the Galaxy is using One UI 7 with Galaxy AI and Google Gemini. Whether you prefer iOS or Android is a personal preference. The user interface on both phones right now looks very similar. For example, they both have a separated notification center and quick settings with a transparent background. iOS now lets you move your icons freely and also customize the icons. On the other hand, the Galaxy introduced something similar to the dynamic island that you can interact with when you are playing music or YouTube, for example. One thing where I found them very different is how the back gesture works. On the Galaxy, you can simply use the back gesture from the left or right side of the screen in any app to go back, while on the iPhone, it is not consistent. Sometimes there is an arrow to help you go back, sometimes the gesture works, and sometimes to this day, I don't know how to go back on certain screens. In terms of AI, I find the Galaxy package more appealing. They both have some nice features. For example, you can select text and it will translate or summarize it for you. But the Galaxy lets you select any text in any app, which is something I use daily these days. Or for example, when removing objects in photos with the Galaxy, you get better results, while the iPhone is rather disappointing, something I've heard Apple is going to solve with iOS 19. On both phones, you can also hold down the power button to interact with Apple Intelligence or Gemini. Both can do simple things like telling you the weather forecast or what's on your calendar for today. But you can also have more advanced conversations similar to how you interact with ChatGPT or Gemini on a regular basis, except now you have a shortcut. Connection is another important thing for me since I do travel often with my bike or in the cities like Venice, where you don't get great connection in some narrow streets. My experience with both phones is positive. There are situations where one of them may not give you a connection, but the other does, but I can't really say one is superior. Both have great connectivity using Qualcomm modems. But speaking of connectivity, with the iPhone, I have a great time connecting it to my MacBook, Mac Studio, or Apple Watch. But I always have trouble using it with my Windows laptops, and sometimes I get weird connection issues with accessories. My friend's iPhone also doesn't connect to her JBL headphones at all, whereas with the Galaxy, I have an easy time connecting to other Android phones using QuickShare and also connecting the phone to a Windows laptop, but I go through all kind of troubles connecting it to my MacBook. Another advantage of the Galaxy is DeX. DeX is a mode that turns your phone into a full-fledged laptop, and I use this mode very often when I'm traveling. I simply bring a multi-touch screen and connect it to my phone when I'm on the train, or I connect my phone to a monitor at work for some quick tasks. Overall, both phones are great. You can't go wrong with either of them. Some people may prefer the punchy colors and vividness of the phones on the Galaxy, while others may prefer the more muted colors and contrasty looking pictures on the iPhone. Some people, like me, may prefer the more advanced and complicated looking camera app on the Galaxy, while others may prefer the more toned down app from Apple. If you're on the Apple ecosystem and have already invested in accessories like the MacBook, Apple Watch, or AirPods, there is little reason to switch to Galaxy. But if you want to keep your freedom and mix different brands in your tech setup, the Galaxy is a more natural option. Also, the S Pen and anti-reflective display are worth considering when choosing the Galaxy S25 Ultra. If you enjoyed this video and want to see a more in-depth camera comparison of the Galaxy S25 Ultra versus iPhone 16 Pro Max, Pixel 9 Pro and Vivo X200 Ultra, you can watch this video next. Thanks for tuning in to TechMo, and I will see you in the next one.